a great pleasure right now to welcome to the show today a woman who has put together a very interesting cookbook called the All Butter Cream-Filled Sugar Packed Baking Book. And we're joined by Judy Rosenberg, the proprietor and owner of Rosie's Bakery, a very famous bakery up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She joined us by telephone today. How are you, Judy?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, too. Good to have a chance to talk to you. I guess no better time of the year to put out a book like this. People are looking to bake holiday and Christmas and Hanukkah and all those kind of desserts. So good timing on your part, Judy. Was that in the plan?
Well, thank you. That was the intention. It is the time to bake.
Over 250 recipes, and it's basically just a dessert cookbook, which is kind of a unique take too. I haven't seen many of those before, if any.
It's a dessert cookbook, and it kind of encompasses all the different things that you can make. You know, cookies, bars, brownies, pies, tarts, cakes, layer cakes. So it's a pretty comprehensive book. I hope that it will be a baking Bible for people once they try the recipes.
And just kind of having a chance to look through some of the recipes, you like all natural ingredients. I'm glad to see that. None of this artificial stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't do anything with cake mixes or anything artificial. And, you know, although it's all butter, cream-filled, sugar-packed, I mean, I'm not advocating that people eat their entire diet that way, but I do believe that, you know, we should eat a healthy, balanced diet, but that when we have a treat or a sweet, it should be the real thing, just like Grandma used to make. You know, because there's nothing better, and that contributes to the joy of eating.
Well, there's nothing better than... That's right. I was saying, our family always had a dessert at the end of every meal, and if you weren't too crazy about the vegetables you had to eat, at least you knew dessert was coming. So it's important, isn't it?
I had a dessert, too, growing up every night as a child, and... Yeah, we're all healthy.
In moderation, but I think nothing wrong with having a piece of cake. Right, yeah.
Yeah, in moderation is the key.
Now, do these recipes, I know you have the bakery up in Boston, are these all recipes that you've used in the products you've sold?
Well, I have 3 bakeries in the Boston area, and I have a repertoire of things that I've carried for literally 37 years, because if I ever tried to get rid of any one of them, there'd be a following of people who'd be furious. So it's those recipes, but then it's a lot of recipes that over the years I've developed in addition to those. I mean, there's 250 recipes. And I didn't think I could ever think of that many recipes, but somehow it's just the way my brain works. And there's nothing more I love than going into my kitchen and developing recipes. And, you know, what I really aim for my book is to teach people that they don't have to be fearful about baking books, because I've had no training whatsoever other than just my own passion for food and my trial and error baking over the years. You know, that's given me a certain knowledge of how things work in recipes.
Do you think people, I guess, maybe feel a little intimidated, I suppose, when you say, well, bake a cake, that's going to take all day, I don't know how to do it. I guess that's one thing people have to kind of overcome, right? It's not as complicated, I guess, in some cases as people think, right?
You know, it amazes me how quickly you can throw things together. I mean, for example, brownies. Like, I could never understand why anybody would use a brownie mix. It literally takes, like, 10 minutes to throw together great brownies. And, you know, I think people just think that if the cake has to be frosted, they're not going to be able to do a good job. And, you know, I like things that look homemade. And although things in my bakery might look a little bit more professional than when I make them at home, I like the homemade look, because I think that kind of gives it more personality and soul. And the recipes in this book are not fancy-schmancy recipes. They are just down-home recipes. The recipes are written very clearly, and, you know, I want to demystify baking for people, and I want them to also understand that no matter how skilled a baker is, that there are variables that may take a little while to get the recipe perfect in their house. Like when you follow a recipe, if your pans are different than the pans of the person who created the recipe, it will have an effect on, you know, the texture of the cake, or if your oven is a little hotter or a little cooler. So you may have to bake something a couple of times to get it right in your home. And that would happen to even the most experienced baker. So, you know, that's the key.
I think you make a good point there. Sometimes you see in the store, bakeries or whatever, the cake looks too perfect. You almost don't want to eat it. The homemade look is more appetizing.
Really, and if a pie crust isn't perfect, I mean, who cares? You know, if it has a wonderful rustic homemade look to it. And, you know, it's not like every time I make a pie, I don't have any struggle at all, you know, like forming the dough on top and making it look beautiful. I mean, there's always a little bit of challenge in that, and you just kind of keep at it until you get it where you want it, and, you know, that's the way it is.
I won't ask you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I won't ask you your favorite recipe, but I'm just looking through some of these here, and some of them that I think would jump out at me. The chocolate peanut butter volcano. What is that? That sounds great.
Oh, the chocolate peanut butter volcano. That is a peanut butter cookie that has chocolate that kind of bursts forth from the top.
Oh, okay.
So that's quite a delicious cookie for people who love the combination of peanut butter and chocolate. If somebody, you know, it's hard for me to say what my favorite recipe in the book is because there are so many different categories of recipes, you know.
Sure, no, I won't ask you to pick one, but...
lemony.
Yeah. You have so many great ones. You have chocolate bourbon pecan pie. I've never heard of bourbon being in it, but that sounds interesting.
That's a good recipe, and that's a perfect Christmas item. And then for Hanukkah, we have the donut holes that are, you know, whoever thought it would be, like, really easy to make donuts, but it is. You know, there's the Soho Glob, which is a fudgy chocolate cookie chock full of chocolate chips, walnuts, and pecans, which is delicious. For Christmas, there's an apple caramel casserole that's just layers of dough and apple and sugar and butter that caramelizes in a casserole in the oven and then is served with vanilla ice cream. I mean, there's just, you know, there's a lot of recipes in the book that, you know, can lend themselves to the holidays.
As the proprietor of your own bakery, are you up at 5 a.m. every morning cooking or baking, Judy?
Well, no, I don't do the major baking anymore because that would be too much for me. I do the baking. I do some of the baking in the stores, like the apple pies. However, I am up at 5 o'clock in the morning because that's just the type of person that I am. But I'm usually off to the gym at 5, and then after that, my work day starts. But I still love to bake in my home, and I love to work on the cookbooks. And when the holidays come, I will be baking stuff at home.
I always remember that commercial, the guy that said, time to make the donuts. It was always like 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it would be a little bit too much for me to bake for all my 3 stores at this point, but I keep the quality control.
Well, it really is it's an interesting book to even just read through. If you're not even going to cook, it's kind of fun to read. But obviously, if you're going to make some desserts, it's called the Rosie's Bakery All-Butter Cream-Filled Sugar-Packed Baking Book. We've been talking with Judy Rosenberg today. Judy, give out a website. Did we get a hold of the book or contact you if you like?
Well, the website is rosiesbakery.com. But for the book, you can go to Amazon or any major book store or online bookstores, and it will be there.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a great, comprehensive book.
I'm going to try and make one of your recipes the next couple of weeks. I'm not a big baker, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay, you do that. Let me know how it turns out.
Judy Rosenberg has been our guest. Judy, good talking to you, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and holidays, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Doug.